I hope I don't regret this. You can see now that problem area has pulled loose from the glass. Oops. It's up off the plate now, and it could work its way further and further back till it's off the build surface underneath where the print is, and the print could come loose. There is a piece of glass right here, 1/4 inch thick piece of glass that it prints on. So maybe I should have restarted the print. See, that's the bummer. Right now it's only a few layers up. Soon it will be, well, not soon, day and a half from now, it will be up almost within the full height that's possible with this printer. And if that little corner comes loose then and causes the whole thing just to move ever so slightly off the vertical, it will fail. So we'll see. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Well, this part right here is the section where the wings are going to be. They're printing quite large. I think they'll be pretty substantial. Whoops. Trying to keep up with the printer here. So everything's still going as planned. One of the little ears is starting out right here, and it's still printing. I guess there's one on the other side right here. They're printing well without support, so keep your fingers crossed. Well, it's been printing for about 10 or 11 hours now. It's a little over 25% done. It's not a third done yet. It's been doing pretty well. It's got a couple of tabs built out. They did well. Let's see, the general print quality is still good. It has hours and hours and hours more to do. It's starting to build out the first set of holes. This is the fuselage part that has the wing and the holes for the carbon fiber rods in it. So you can see they're being produced right now, doing perfectly without any support. I got up in the middle of the night and it's still printing. It finished the hole in the side, and now it's working on some other slots and stuff that are in there. So looking good. Lots of time left. Well, it's been printing for about 15 minutes shorter than 23 hours. And it's still growing. So it's got about 17 hours left. Well, I think I've decided to reprint this print. I'm going to let this one go ahead and finish. It's on layer 1429 of 2203. It's getting towards 3/4 finished. It's going to be a while, but I'm going to let it finish. And the reason is you see this line right here? I've been looking at it for the past short while. Remember I told you that this came loose from the build plate fairly early. Well, now this side, I noticed overnight, has come loose from the build plate. I don't know for sure. I think it's shifted around. You can see from that mark up is fairly, let me turn on the camera light. It is fairly uniform. It actually looks better than everything below that mark. But it sort of looks to me like the whole thing shifted. at that mark during the night. Now if you look at the back doesn't show that shift. The side doesn't really show that shift either. So I'm just not quite sure about it. That side doesn't really show that shift at that same place. So don't know if it's something in the model, or you see why I'm a little worried that it did shift. Let me go around back and see. I don't really see any evidence of a shift back here either. So I'm gonna let it print, and then I do believe after I've got everything printed, I will print this one again and see if what is up with that. If it prints the same, then it must be something in the print. If it prints differently, then it must be something with my printer. And I am, after this print is finished, I'm going to retreat the glass with the hairspray, and hopefully that'll keep further rafts from coming loose from the bed. Probably should have retreated it before I printed this one, but hindsight is 2020. Layer 1654 of 2203. It's 3/4 of the way printed, and it still continues to print. Nothing new to report, except it's got 25% more print and time left, which it's now about 4 o'clock, 4:30ish or so. It's been printing for 29.5 hours. So it's got about 10 hours, 12 hours left to print. It will print till 2, 3ish tonight. That print head's getting back way up in that gantry again. The 4th fuselage piece prints to the same level. The ailerons print to the same height. The rest of everything prints lower. But I will be coming back to reprint this one again. I don't like the way the layers look right in that area. I don't know. When I print it again, we will know what caused it. We can't tell at this point. It's 9:51 p.m. The print's on layer 1956 of 2203. It's got about 250 layers. An hour or so, several hours left to print. I will print this again. After I print everything, I will start this over. I'll work with this piece, figuring stuff out until then. The print's coming up on the end of the wing sections. Starting to close up the leading edge. There's more on the next part for the trailing edge as it gets thinner and thinner. And here it's the thickest. And here's the leading edge that's starting to narrow. You can see it will bring that up to a sort of a pointed leading edge, and then it will put about another 1/2 inch of just fuselage above that, and it'll be finished. I'm still not real thrilled about the way the front printed here, but oops, come on light, there we go. That's why I'll reprint it. It's not showing up in the light right now. Oh well. There you go. You can see the ledges in there. I just don't like that. I think it'll print much differently. I will treat the bed with the hairspray Aquanet right after this print finishes. It's up in the gantry again, but it's doing exactly what it should. So it could have as much as 4 hours left to print. Not sure yet. Started at 11 a.m. yesterday. So here at 10, it would be 24, 35 hours into the print at this point. Layer 2003 of 2203. It's got 200 layers left to go. It's only like a half hour later. It's 10:23 or something right now. I'm just getting kind of excited to see it finished. Now 200 layers, it's still going to take quite a while, so I need to settle down. It just finished the wings, the tips right here. It won't be printing in this area anymore. It'll just be doing the fuselage for, I think, 147 more layers, and that will be it. It's 11:23. It'll be about another hour, I think. We'll see. It will be soon. And look at that. That print head is way up in the air. The ribbon cable for the camera over here didn't pull out until after it finished its print, and then tried to go up a little bit and go over to the left, else it wouldn't have pulled out. So, like I say, this comes within 1.1 inch of my maximum height. It's my little 3D printer cart. Used to be a regular computer printer cart. Got some filament in the box down there. There's some wood there for the laser that can be put on the front of it, but just unplug the clip strip, put it up on the thing, and you can roll this anywhere you want to and communicate with it wirelessly. It does a good job for me. I wished I had an enclosure. Enclosure would make a lot of difference on the print. Control the heat, control drafts, etc., etc. Be better for fire problems, but I don't have an enclosure. So, such be life. Layer 2103, exactly 100 layers left to go. You can see the fuselage above where the wings will go on now. 100 layers, somewhere longer than an hour and a half. I hope not 2 hours for 100 layers. Well, there it is. It's finishing up the last little bit of the last layer. 6 layers of top layer that Cura puts on it after your print finishes printing. Gantry's way up there. It printed for 38, almost 39 hours. And that's a completed print. I'll show it on the bench tomorrow. Well, there it is. There's the third fuselage part. I think it looks pretty good. Like I say, I think I'm going to reprint it. Not sure what's going on in there, but that's that seam. So overall, it looks really good. I like these gluing surfaces. Just this right here in it. Don't know what caused that. It's reflected in the side a little bit. So I think I'll reprint it at the end, see if I can get this out of it. It's purely cosmetic, I'm sure. But there's the 3 pieces. Fourth one's starting to print right now. So there's what I've got so far. Those 3 pieces. The 4th piece is going to take 1 day and 11 hours to print. It's started now. There, you can see that a little better. Sorry about that. It's hard for me to see what the camera sees. So that's the 3 pieces I've got printed so far. Now, look at this a little closer. These areas right here, if I look at them really, really close, I think what's happening there is the retract is causing a little less filament to be extruded right at the end of the layer than it should. So I have to look at that. Randomizing this seam would keep stuff like this from happening, where several problems are on adjacent layers, which I think makes this a little weaker. Yeah, I just looked at it with a magnifying glass. I'm going to have to go back and figure out if this is where the print is stopping each layer or starting, because there's actually little holes right there. So it's change the retraction. If that's the end of the layer, then the retraction's probably a little bit too high right there on the end. I don't know if this on the other side of the seam is the beginning or the end. I'll have to go back and look how the slicers, how it's doing when it's printing. Because from the seam, this direction is just, oh man, that's good stuff. Really good stuff. Overall, I think the printer did really well. I think in the humidity that's been coming through this area, I've got a little splotching just from humidity in the basement here. Got a little bit of that loss of filament right here on the back of this ear too. Some little sort of holes in it. Other than that, again, only thing I've done is given it the fingernail cleanup, which is scratch those raised places. A lot of them come right off. This one doesn't. I've got some sandpaper. And again, this. And there's some of that. I guess that's just markings. Markings there. But this layer, I think it shifted. It was coming up so well. Nice layering. Had a little something go on in here. And then that big shift right there. I just don't like it. On up the rest of the print, all the way through the top. It really printed good. A little bit of something right there. Yeah, look at that. There's a lot of missing. A lot of little bitty, kind of like holes right in here in the top of that. Right where that, and right there in that corner. too. That's where I was looking at before. And on the other side, it looks okay. Don't really think it has to do with that hole. That hole's for running wires and stuff from the wing in to the inside. But well, we'll keep printing. It'll be almost 2 days before we see anything on the 4th fuselage part. So these two are, and the next part that's printing over here, they print to the same layer exactly, layer height. Okay, well, don't know what else to say about this one except for, I guess the third part is printed. Actually, I do know what else to say about it. What else I need to say about it is it weighs 72 grams. 72. 73. 73. 0. 72. The base scales 72. So it weighs approximately 72 grams. Overall, I'd give this part a grade of 90. I've thought about it more. Randomizing this seam would fix this problem, because any loss of filament and little holes like this in it would be just in that particular one layer, and that would be randomized so far over the whole thing that there wouldn't be any loss of structural strength like there is right now in that area and here where they're all adjacent. That has to do with my printer, has nothing to do with the print itself. It's just to do with my printer. I had been playing with that retraction and stuff a year or so ago and haven't touched it since. Probably need to revisit it. So I'll give this print a grade of B+. Hey, maybe higher than that. I think any problems with it are more problems of mine, not that they have with their print. I still think the print is just, it's wonderful. It's just outstanding. Okay, so that is all I can think of to say about it. Thank you guys so much.